Okay, we will move on to the next learning. That is 44. The topic is develop your talents. Norman Cousins once noted that the tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. In a similar vein, Ashley Montagu wrote that the deepest personal defeat suffered by a human being is constituted by the difference between what one was capable of becoming at one and what one has in fact become. There is a difference between simply existing and truly living. There is a distinction between simply surviving and really thriving. The sad thing is that most people have lost sight of human gifts that lie within them and have resigned themselves to spending the best years of their life watching television in a subdivision. In my speeches, I often use the following story drawn from an ancient Indian mythology to remind the audience that there is an abundance of potential and the ability just waiting to be awakened within us. And if we will allow it to see the light of the day, it will thrive. Thousands of years ago, it was believed that everyone who walked the earth was a god. But humankind abused its limitless power so that Supreme God decided to hide the Godhead, the source of all his potential, so that no one could find it. The question then became, what could such a thing be hidden? Where could such a thing be hidden? The first advisor suggested it could be placed deep in the ground, to which the Supreme God replied, no. Eventually, someone will dig deep enough to find it. The second advisor then offered, what if we place the Godhead at the bottom of the deepest ocean, to which the Supreme God responded, no. Eventually, someone will dive deep enough to find it. The third advisor then chimed in, well, why don't we put it in the top of the highest mountain? Which prompted the Supreme God to reply, no. I am certain that someone eventually will scale the highest peaks of the mountain to find it. After reflecting for some time, the Supreme God found the solution. I will put the source of all human power and purpose inside the hearts of every man, woman, and the child on the planet, for they will never think to look there. In all my work with employees of organizations across North America, I see the same thing. Too many people spend more time focusing on their weakness rather than developing their strengths. By concentrating on what they don't have, they neglect the talents that they have. The greatest people who have gone before all of us had a simple strategy that ensured their success. They knew themselves. They made the time to reflect on their core abilities, those special qualities that made them unique, and spent the rest of their life refining and expanding them. You see, we all are endowed with the capacity of genius. Perhaps you have just not taken the time to discover what your personal gifts are and then own them to the level that you are considered brilliant. Are you using the best within you to its fullest capacity? If not, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, you are doing the world and all those within it who could benefit from your unique talents a disservice. Ruskin put it in this way: the weakest among us has a gift, however seemingly trivial, which is peculiar to him and which worldly used will be a gift also to his race. We are done with chapter 44. We are moving on to the next lesson, lesson number 45. That is connect with nature. We live in an age of seemingly limitless information. The weekday edition of the New York Times contains more information than the average person was exposed to during his entire lifetime in the 17th century England. Over the years, I have found that spending time alone in natural surroundings connects me to the larger universe around me and restores my spirit in this hurried age. After a busy week of speaking engagement, book signings, and media appearances, the simple act of sitting in a wooden park and listening to the wind move through the leaves fill me with a sense of quiet and peace. My priorities become clearer, my obligations seems less pressing, and my mind grows still. Communing with nature is also an excellent way to unlock your creativity and generate new ideas. Newton formulated the laws of gravity while relaxing under an apple tree. Likewise, Swiss designer George D. Mistral developed Velcro after examining the burdock's burr that clung to his dog while he hiked in the mountains. Natural surroundings serve to strive the endless chatter that fills our minds so that our true brilliance can be liberated. And while you spend your time enjoying nature, observe your surroundings with deep concentration. Study the complexity of a flower or the way the current moves in the sparkling stream. Take your shoes off and feel the grass under your feet. Give silent thanks that you have the privilege of enjoying the special gifts of nature. Many people do not. As Mahatma Gandhi observed, when I admire the wonder of the sunset or the beauty of the moon, my soul expands in worship of the Creator. We are done with chapter 45. We are moving to the next lesson, that is, use your commute time. If you commute to the office for 30 minutes each way every day, after 1 year, you will have spent the equivalent of 6 weeks of 8 hours a day in your car. Given this, can you really afford to spend all the time staring out of the window and daydreaming while all the negative news blare from the car radio? So many of the highly successful people and enlightened ones I know share a common habit. They listen to audio cassettes in their car. In doing so, they transform their driving time into a learning time, and they make their automobiles into moving universities. Turning your car into a college on wheels will be one of the best investments you will ever make. Rather than arriving at work tired, frustrated, and dispirited, listening to educational audio cassettes will make your commute fun and keep you inspired, focused, and alert to the endless opportunities around you. The best way to spot someone truly committed to life improvement is to ask him whether his car radio is working. The real students of effective living will have no clue because they spend every minute of their driving time listening to audio tapes. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to get into the passenger seat of the car of a successful and fulfilled person and found a small mountain of tapes occupying the place where I used to sit. Most of the latest books can now be found on audio cassettes, along with many of the best motivational programs and life leadership systems. Personally, I try to listen to at least 5 new tapes a month, ranging from latest business bestsellers to programs on time management, creativity, positivity thinking, and physical well being. Also, spiritual satisfaction. We are done with this lesson. We are moving on to the next lesson, that is lesson number 47, naming Go On a News Fast. Negative news sells. In our society, more people will choose to watch the criminal trial of a celebrity rather than the biography of a truly great human being. A newspaper with the headline revealing the latest tragedy will sell more copies than one announcement of the latest scientific breakthrough. The real problem is that easy to get addicted. It is easy to get addicted to the latest and the most selling negative news that is out there. I know so many people who begin their days by reading less and uplifting less by reading less than uplifting newspaper stories, and who end them by catching up on the latest crime accidents and scandals on the late night news. I'm not against newspaper or television, or by any stretch of any imagination. As a matter of fact, I find excellent information in many newspapers and have learned much from the intelligent TV programs I have watched over the days. My point is simply this: become more selective in the news you expose your mind to. Be more deliberate in the way you read your newspaper and in the way you watch the television. Before you start reading the morning paper, have a purpose in mind. Use it as an information tool to serve you and make you wiser rather than an excuse to help you pass time. One of the best ways to wean yourself from the news addiction that so many of us suffer is to go on a 7 days news fast. Vow on not to read even one negative story in the newspaper or watch even one negative news report on the television for a next week. You will notice two things. First, you will not really miss out on the much of the information. You will hear about the most important stories of the day from the conversation that circulate around from your office through the encounters at your home. Second, you will feel much more peaceful and serene. As well, you will find that the 7 days news fast offers yet another benefit. More time to do that things that will truly improve the quality of your life. We are done with this chapter. We are moving on to the next lesson. That is lesson number 48. Get serious about setting goals. Many speakers and authors encourage you to set goals, but most of us and most of them never explain why this is such a powerful discipline beyond saying something like something magical happens when you write down your goals on paper. In my opinion, setting clearly defined goals for all of the areas of your life works for three reasons. First, it restores a sense of focus in your world, a world that has become complicated by too many opinions. In this age we live in, there are simply far too many things to do at any given time. There are too many distractions that compete for our attention. Goals clarify our desires, and in doing so, they help us to focus on only those activities that will lead us to what we want. Setting clearly defined goals will provide us with a framework for smarter choices. If you know precisely what you are going, where you are going, it becomes far easier to select those activities that will get you to the desired goal or desired future. Writing down your goals clarifies your intentions, and the first step to realizing your vision is defining it. As novelist Saul Bellow once observed, a clear plan relieves you for a torment of choice. Or as the author Glenn Bald wrote, goals and plans take the worry out of living. If you set goals, the actions you take will be based on your life's mission rather than the one you days today moods, the one of your day-to-day moods. The second reason that goal setting works is that it keeps you alert to the opportunities. The discipline almost magnetizes your mind to seek out new opportunities. Opportunities that you need to seize in order to create the personal, professional, and spiritual life that you desire. And the third reason goal setting will work is the clearly defined goals commit you to the course of action. They give you the inspiration to act on your priorities and make things happen in your life rather than waiting for the opportunities to land in your lap, which rarely happens. Setting goals that engage and motivate you is one of the best ways to boost your level of personal commitment to life and increase the energy you bring to your days. So, set big goals. You are only as rich, whether materially or spiritually, as your dreams. Or as advertising genius David O'Grady put it, don't don't bond. Aim out aim out of the ballpark. Aim for the company of immortals. We are done with this chapter. We are done with this lesson, and we end this session now. Thank you.